Just a horrific ending to the day for the Big 12 and a day that started with such promise. And now the Big 12 is going to get just crushed nationally. Welcome in. I'm giving you guys a little treat. You get to see the other side of my studio. This is the K-State side. I'm about to go live for some 3-Ma post-game to do some K-State specific post-game here, everybody. But I just wanted to, one, say hello, and two, give you a little taste of what it's like to be a K-State fan right now. As K-State loses at home to Army, brutal game for the Big 12. The bigger national story is Arizona State, who just blew it after a tremendous comeback at Mississippi State to lose that game in horrific fashion. I do not understand what happened to Arizona State at the end of that game, but this undoes a lot of the goodwill that was built up earlier today. When I last talked to you, man, things were so much better. So much better. Okay, because the day started off with one, when I was talking to you, Kansas was up 21-6 at Mizzou. They wind up getting outgained by like 250 to 300 yards and losing when they were right there in the fourth quarter. Lance Leipold, what are you doing? Punting. Horrible decision by him. But you had Baylor, man, Baylor with showing a bunch of grit and toughness and balls to go win that game at SMU, which was so good for the league. Iowa State continues to be incredibly gritty and tough. And man, another great Cyhawk win for Iowa State, the same way that they always seem to get those types of games done, right? Unfortunately, it all comes crashing down for the Big 12 because the K-State thing, hopefully, I guess it won't register too much on a national scale for the Big 12's sake, but this was the team that I continue reminding all you guys was picked to win the Big 12 by the coaches who picked K-State, Iowa State as the Big 12 championship game, picked to win the Big 12 in the unofficial media poll. But again, I will say, guy wearing a Cats hoodie right now, I did not pick K-State to win the Big 12. I had K-State finishing fourth, which also looks pretty wretched right now. But there's no doubt. I mean, it hurts the Big 12. What hurts the Big 12 more is that game was on freaking ESPN. You know, the one time that you need ESPN Plus to come through for you, right? And have that K-State Army game being a game that's like technical issues and all sorts of difficulties and like nobody's actually watching it. You actually needed it to be one of those. And instead, it was a game that was just right out there for the entire world to see on ESPN. Let me start with K-State since we're there. I'll get to more specific thoughts on Arizona State in just a moment, which I do think is more impactful because that's a team that was ranked in the top 12 or top 10, depending on which poll you're looking at. And they just lost to a team that finished last in the SEC last year, right? But, I mean, K-State, frankly, is just not a very tough team right now. They're also not a very well-coached team, okay? So, like, the whole narrative that has been there about K-State's program being, like, gritty and tough and they don't beat themselves, I mean, that stuff's just long gone. That has not really been the case post Big 12 championship, but specifically 2024 and 2025. Now, they started 7-1 last year, but even within that, they had the total meltdown at BYU. They have had a lot of critical penalties, like turnovers come in waves when they do come. Special teams has been really bad over the last few years, although ironically, today they get a special teams turn touchdown, a kickoff return for a touchdown, and it did wind up hurting them. Chris Kleiman said it after the game, and there's no doubt it did, because the defense was getting gassed, totally gassed. They were on the K-State's offense until that last drive had run 4 plays the entire second half. The kickoff return touchdown absolutely hurt them because it threw the defense back out there to get more gassed. It would have been better to have the offense go run some clock, run some plays, let them adjust on the sideline and get their wind. You know, I mean, that's just the way it goes. And that's the way it's going with this team and program right now. But Army was just a really tough team and a well-coached team. Like the stuff that they pulled off. Coach Monken, I always get him mixed up to Jeff or Todd Monken, whatever. Kudos to him, by the way. Hell of a game plan. And he goes for it on 4th down at the end of the first half to get that touchdown to bookend the half, which was great decision, great play. And then they come out, and after they score again in the second half to go up, they launch the perfect like onside kick where it's just a missile right at one of the upbacks, blasts off him perfectly back to Army. They recover it, and that's when you knew K-State was really in deep you-know-what when that happened. Because that's one where you're like, man, everything's going their way right now. And if you pull that off, Now the defense is going to be even more gassed. So just horrible, man. Horrible. And I just listened to Chris Kleiman's press conference. He kind of outlined all that like, hey, look, basically we got to score more in the first half when they scored on 3 of their 4 possessions, but a couple of them were field goals. And I also would say that a 4th and 2 at about midfield in the first half, they should have gone for. They were moving the ball. Avery Johnson had one of his better games throwing the ball. He was on point, man, and not really being turnover prone until that very last throw. It was actually one of Avery's better games. But here's the thing. K-State's dropping passes, and Army at the end of the game, they've got a safety twice shooting himself like a missile at the ball to dislodge it to keep K-State from getting into field goal range. And that is just being immensely well coached and tougher. They were tougher. K-State's got talented receivers. Like, I actually think they have a pretty good receiving core. But Army was tougher, and they made those big plays when they had to. So that to me is really what it comes down to. Like, K-State's just not a very well-coached team. They beat themselves. They're one of the field goal drives early in the game. There was a procedure penalty that kept them from converting what would have been first and goal, and instead they have to kick a field goal. Like, K-State beats themselves. They're not well-coached, and they're not very tough. Kleiman really went to bat defending his defense, and I get that. Like, I would honestly, I would put more of this on the offense, but they're not tough. They're not gritty when they need to get a couple of yards. They're not good at 3rd and 4th and short. They're not good at defending 3rd and 4th and short. Like, it just is what it is. Like, they're not a very good team right now. They should be 0-3 with a loss to North Dakota and a loss to Army, guys. I mean, the danger now is, do you become Oklahoma State? But I can talk more about that on the live show, because really important here is what happened to Arizona State, man. That is backbreaking. I hate that. I hate that so much for the Big 12 that Arizona State just lost that game, because first of all, they showed a lot of toughness and mettle, man. Down 17-0, peeking in on that game in the first half. I mean, it just looked like they were getting whitewashed. They had nothing going. And then I start watching, Sam Leavitt is flying at the first down marker, diving Superman style with everything he has. He's doing everything he can to bring that team back. And it just wasn't enough. They get all the way down. This is what is going, I mean, so many things I'm sure will haunt Arizona State fans after that. But what haunts me from what I was able to see of that game, Arizona State gets down to the freaking 1-yard line and has multiple chances to punch it in to go up 24-17 with under 2 minutes left to go in the game. And what happens? They can't do it. They don't do it. They get stonewalled. And I understand why Kenny kicked. You feel like at that point, you definitely got to get some points, because there's plenty of time for Mississippi State to drive back down the other way and get a field goal. Now, if you want to say pressure situation with them pinned back and all that, but I get it. You've got to get some points there. And really, you've got to just, up and blast your way into the end zone on 1st, 2nd, or 3rd down. That's really what has to happen there. And then I don't know how it happened. You have a coverage bust after that. You're thinking, okay, probably headed for overtime. Mississippi State, if they can hit another play or two, this thing's probably headed for overtime. Instead, they bust that on you. A one-on-one matchup out there and just like a post. I mean, it just looked way too easy for Mississippi State. And it's like, after pouring all that into the comeback, man, you give it up on that. And then Sam Leavitt, I don't know what, really poorly thrown ball on the interception. If they had any chance at getting off some sort of miraculous comeback there in the final 40 seconds after they got the ball back. But the Big 12 is going to get crushed for that, man. Going to get crushed. I talked about branding. One team trying to brand themselves as being the team that can go do damage in the playoff. Arizona State was that close to beating Texas. Now everybody looks at it like, wait, we started to believe in you. We started to buy into you, and you go lose at Mississippi State, who SEC fans, the people that are going to criticize you, they know intimately how bad Mississippi State was last year. You can't do it, man. You can't do it. You cannot lose that game. It was already going to be bad enough that you fell behind 17-0. But if you come back to win, all right, hey, fine. Stuff happens to SEC teams when they go on the road too. But man, you got all the way there and you blew it like that. That is a backbreaker for the Big 12. I hate it. Arizona State can still be fine as far as the Big 12 championship race is concerned. But man, that one hurts. It stings, and it's like you were climbing the mountaintop, the Big 12, middle of the day, felt like you were on top of the world, and then shoo, everything comes crashing down after that. It's going to be a ton to talk about on the live show tomorrow. Utah rolled, looked fine. We'll see what happens with BYU still playing right now. Obviously, Baylor, They have fought their way back into Big 12 contender discussion after, when they were down by 14 late in that game. I thought, I don't know about this for Baylor. Sawyer Robertson has just been balling, throwing up crazy numbers, over 800 yards passing in 2 games against an ACC playoff team and an SEC defense. Texas Tech when I say Texas Tech looks like the Monstars, they did it again today. It was crazy. Just an overwhelmingly dominant performance. I know against a bad team, but they look so good right now. Can't wait for Tech Utah, which is coming up. Lot to break down, but I fear that this Saturday did a lot of damage to the Big 12, and this is kind of the way it goes. It's college football, but the non-con, the Big 12 has been so close to making really big things happen and just haven't been able to follow through. So it hurts. We'll see about that one bid league comment that was being made there. You're probably going to start getting some of that. I don't know. At this point, Utah and Texas Tech might be your best bets, or Iowa State. I talked about Iowa State earlier. That is not a slight to you Cyclones, I promise. Iowa State's absolutely going to be in the mix there, and I think they've been around long enough and made the Big 12 championship game last year that they'll have some cachet too. But those are looking like the three teams that you're going to need to be in the mix for playoff spots if you want to be more than a one bid league as of right now. But you guys know my opinion. I hate that college football always just boils down to just playoff talk, so we're not gonna only focus on that here on the show. But had to pop in, give you a little instant reaction to that because that was not a good night window of games for the Big 12, unfortunately. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Appreciate all of you who do like the video. All that stuff really helps. And I will talk to you tomorrow on the live show.